A lot of people question the purpose of these three fields in our layer 3 header: identification, flag, and fragment offset. What's that all about? It's all about fragmentation. Well, what is fragmentation? Fragmentation is taking something and breaking it up into smaller chunks. Now, why would we need to do this? Look what it says here. It says packets have a maximum size of 65,535 bytes at layer 3. Hey, that's cool. So you're telling me that I could have a single packet with 65,535 bytes. Yeah, you can. But will I be able to transmit that across the network? No. No, you won't. Why is that? Because the packet then has to go into a frame. The frame is the packet with the framing header information. Could be going across a serial link using HDLC or PPP. Could be going across an Ethernet link. Doesn't matter. That frame has to be created. There is a maximum transmission unit, meaning the maximum size of the packet that can go into the frame. That's what the MTU is. The maximum size of a packet that can go in a frame. Let's stick to Ethernet right now. What is the MTU of Ethernet? Well, it depends. It depends. For example, as we get into higher speed Ethernet, we can support higher MTUs. But if we're dealing with fast Ethernet as an example, 1,500 bytes is the MTU at layer 2. So does that mean I could stick this 65,535 byte packet into the frame? No, I can't. So I have to break up the packet into smaller chunks. And that's what these three fields are for. So these three fields are going to be utilized by our sending and receiving stations to identify how that packet was broken up and how it should be put back together. So for example, if our packet is 65,535 bytes, are we breaking up that specific packet? No, we're breaking up the data inside of it. So we're breaking up the what? We're breaking up the segment from the transport layer. So let's remove the headers at layer 3. And once we remove the headers at layer 3, let's now take the segment, and that's what we're carving up. We're carving up that 65,535 bytes into smaller chunks. And in this case, we're going to carve it up into 1,500 byte pieces and then put our new layer 3 headers on top of it. And inside of those layer 3 headers, we're going to have to identify what has occurred, throw up any flags that need to be put there, and then the fragment offset, which is going to indicate the number of bytes that we're offsetting here. So for example, the first one's 1,500. What's the next one? What's the next one? And so on and so forth. Now, is fragmentation a good thing? No, it's not. It's a lot of work for our end stations, both the sender and the receiver. And you might be thinking, hey, my PC is pretty beefy. It's strong. It can handle it. Yeah, but what about your mobile devices? Yeah, they're pretty powerful. You know, my mobile devices that I have are much more powerful than PCs that we used, 10 years ago, definitely. But that doesn't mean that we should overburden them with this fragmentation process. So we want to reduce the amount of fragmentation that occurs. Why? It's going to make our devices faster because they don't have to do all this extra work when they send or receive data. The same thing is true with our routers. Do we really want a router to receive a frame that has an MTU of 1,500 in it? However, its interface, let's say this interface right here, is only supporting an MTU of 1460 or 1450. If that's the case, what does the router have to do now? It's going to have to fragment something that's already been fragmented. So now the router, instead of efficiently forwarding packets, it now has to stop, process the packet, break it up, rebuild multiple packets, fill in the information here at the layer 3 header, and then forward it on. So fragmentation is both bad for our end stations and bad for our routers' performance. So if we want to maximize throughput, we want to reduce congestion, we want to reduce processing time, we want to avoid fragmentation. We really want to avoid fragmentation.